There is something called as a pineal gland. Various aspects of yoga or sadhana of yoga is to move it little down, south, it's called.
One way is the inside has become total vacuum, so the doorway gets sucked in and naturally has to open. The doorway becomes limp and falls inward because there is nothing. He's simply burnt not only his thought, not only his emotion, not just his relationships and possessions, he's just burnt his very being. The individual being is completely burnt out and there's a total vacuum, so the door fell inward and it's open. And this door got knocked open from inside. This is another way to do it.
So transforming your energies is a more sure path, a more certain path. You are walking on solid ground. If one works sufficiently upon his energies, the right sense of understanding and guidance, if it is done, very easily one can get enlightened. If you stand, if you simply sit quietly, you are a powerful being. If you open your mouth, you are a fool. That's how you will be.
There is something called as a pineal gland. Various aspects of yoga or sadhana of yoga is to move it little down, south, it's called, moving it south. This is the symbolism of Shiva turning south because his third eye moved south. What was up here came down between the two eyes. The moment it came here, he saw things that nobody had ever seen. Now, if this happens in a certain way, the secretions of the pineal, which in yoga is referred to as amrit or amrita or amritam probably in Sanskrit, this amritam either can be taken into the system to strengthen the system and increase or extend the longevity of the system. Or this amrita can be taken to create blissfulness in the system, like a drug, it can just blow you away. Or you can use this amrita to enhance your perception that you can become like thin air because everything that is here passes through you. Right now, air passes only through your nostrils and you know if it doesn't pass, you're gone. If this air can pass through right across you, some of you might at some moment felt when you're very carefree and joyful, you stood in the breeze, it feels like breeze is passing through you. And you become 100% transparent. That is because you've used your amrita to bring sensitivity to the system. So these are three fundamental ways. One is to strengthen the body, to make it like a rock, which will give a certain longevity to that person, which is considered superhuman by most people, or to bring such a level of drunkenness and blissfulness within you that you don't care how long you live, or to make yourself like thin air, that your perception is super hyped because there is absolutely no resistance to the system. The same secretions of the pineal gland can be used in three different ways. This amrita or this secretion of the pineal gland will play the right kind of role in the system. When I say right, in my perception, only if it enhances your perception, it is right, because if you do not enhance your perception, your life doesn't get enhanced in any way. It only gets enhanced in somebody else's eyes. If you become like a rock, your experience of life may not change. It is just other people think you're fantastic. Well, We could have made a statue out of you and you would have been a rock. Anyway, we didn't need a human being to become like a rock. If you have a rock for a brain, this will be the problem. You're always thinking, which is a bigger rock than you, which is a smaller rock than you. Your entire life goes into this as to which is superior, which is inferior, which is better, which is worse. Endlessly you will be comparing yourself because this is the nature of a rock. This is the nature of physical reality. Once you identify yourself with physical reality, which is better, which is worse, is a natural process of thought. Only if you transcend that can you be free from this as to which is better and which is worse.
The most significant aspect of Shiva is that he opened his third eye. All the other things, he danced, he meditated, married twice, did so many things, that's not the thing. He opened his third eye. It's only for that we remember him even today. For that, even today, after thousands of years, we still bow down to him. Because there is no substitute for knowing. There is no substitute for knowing means. And there is no way to know unless your perception goes beyond your present levels of perception. Unless your ability to see is enhanced beyond its present limitations, there is no way to know. To know is to be free. So, Shiva is significant for us not because he's wrecked in Himalayas, not because he played with snakes, not because of this or that, because he opened his third eye. He perceived what most human beings fail to perceive. What is unseen for a large segment of humanity became a normal part of his vision. That's what third eye means. So people say, when Shiva opened his third eye, it was a fiery process, fire came out of it. Why they're saying fire is because within himself, he burnt everything that he thought mattered to him. He became like a fire chamber, like a kiln, that within himself he burnt everything that can be burnt, and then from every pore of his body, instead of sweat and blood coming, ash came out. Why Shiva is always depicted as ash smeared is he didn't go about smearing ash. Ash came out of his pores. This is to indicate that he has burnt it all. He has burnt every shred of ignorance, everything that one believes as true, he burnt. Because he burned everything and everything became ash, then this opening of the third eye could not be denied to him. When it opened, people saw fire because the inner chamber was burning. There are two ways of opening the eye. One way is the inside has become total vacuum, so the doorway gets sucked in and naturally has to open. The doorway becomes limp and falls inward because there is nothing. He simply burnt not only his thought, not only his emotion, not just his relationships and possessions, he's just burnt his very being. The individual being is completely burnt out and there's a total vacuum, so the door fell inward and it's open. So people saw fire because it was burning still. Another way of opening the third eye is you contain everything inside. Everything is contained. You did not find any expression for your thought, any expression for your emotion, any expression for anything. You could not even utter a word. See, if you remain silent for 4 days, on the 5th day, you feel like singing suddenly. If you don't know how to sing, you want to howl like a wolf. Huh? Because you want to let go. You didn't let go anything, so much pressure built up and this door got knocked open from inside. This is another way to do it. The first way of doing is the best way of doing because if you open it by building pressure, it opens up today and again tomorrow it may just shut itself. Or before enough pressure builds up and this opens, something else freaks in you and you run away, yes? Because the pressure builds up in such a way, if you have to hold it, you need… because you don't know what's happening, it looks like torture. It looks like 7th degree torture. If you're putting yourself through the whole process, then definitely your mind will ask, what is the point going through this torture? Because it's a lot of torture. Not letting a single thought find expression, not letting a single emotion find expression, not uttering a single word, not finding expression to a single opinion that arises in your mind, single idea that arises in your mind. Oh, it'll burst you somewhere. If you hold everything intact, this will open, otherwise something else will freak. But you are a little… you're diplomatic. You believe in the middle path. That means you don't wish to get anywhere. People who believe in the middle path, they're determined not… not to get anywhere in their life. Middle path means just your comfort zone. Neither this nor that. Either you become empty, the sheer power of vacuum will open it, or you build up pressure in you, it'll burst open. Two ways of opening. Middle path means you are a professional bullshitter. Really. Full-time bullshitter you are, not professional. Profession means they do it only part-time, right? They do it only certain times of the day. It doesn't matter where you go, you do your own stuff. Middle path. Middle path is a way of not getting anywhere. and after some time thinking, this doesn't go anywhere. Right now you're walking on the street, suddenly you found a big rock, there are only two ways to go, either this way or this way. This way a tiger is growling, this way there's fire burning. You think the best thing is middle path, that is to go into the rock. Obviously this is not going to go anywhere. This will give you good exercise for some time. If you try to go into the rock, it's a good exercise, really, it'll build a lot of good muscle if you take the middle path. It's just that you don't go anywhere.
When you look at your life, the way you live it, many times you would have noticed that you are ruled by compulsive emotions. Today you really want to be peaceful. Today it happens to be your wife's birthday, your husband's something. You really want to make sure nothing goes wrong. That's a day just the anger rules you, just comes out for no reason. So, these things people try to control for their whole lifetimes and nothing changes. The mechanics of the mind, the way the mind functions is just the way the karmic substance is. Because mind is just an accumulation. What kind of accumulation you have, that's how it functions. If one has to go beyond the limitations or beyond the compulsiveness that a certain type of accumulation creates within us, either one has to raise into a different level of awareness, consciousness, with which he can become free, or another way is he has to transform his energies. Raising to higher levels of consciousness generally is very deceptive. Everybody believes they're very high consciousness. If you put them to test then they'll fail miserably, because the nature of the mind is such, it can deceive you till the end. People believe they have changed many, many times. Simply because their situations have become little more conducive, they have changed. If situations become extreme, again they're back to the same place. Yes, have you noticed this again and again? So transforming your energies is a more sure path, a more certain path. You're walking on solid ground. And all you need is a certain dedication and involvement in a certain practice. If one works sufficiently upon his energies, the right sense of understanding and guidance, if it is done, very easily one can get enlightened on the level of his energy. His energy will be enlightened. His consciousness might not have gone beyond, but his energies will be enlightened. This is something we have been doing with in close groups of people for a long time. Shiva also has spoken about it. Shiva says, when the spinal thread is touched, a light begins to glow in and around you. If you place the whole attention on the Sushumna Nadi, and if it is properly touched, then it becomes alive and it glows. Once it glows, slowly the energy will mature within a very short period of time, and energy will become enlightened. It glows. You have a glow of an enlightened being, but you don't have the consciousness of an enlightened being. If you stand, if you simply sit quietly, you are a powerful being. You open your mouth, you're a fool, that's how you will be. But it's good to be this way because this is easy to achieve. This is easy to achieve, all you need is dedication, especially when I am around, this is very easy to do. If you just touch the spinal cord, it can just glow.